It seems like I am the oldest here.
No.
So I would like to give you maybe a short history, because when I was young, if somebody would have told me that these things could happen, it would be like science fiction, of course. But my personal story was like a little prophecy of that, I have to say. When I started at 19, it was like a rebellion against everything that was there. And I started to live in the street together with studying communication science at the University in Vienna. And to keep it short, one sentence was always important from what I heard at the university, and that was a sentence by Ludwig Wittgenstein. I think you also remember. He more or less is the founder of the philosophy of language. And this one sentence was, the meaning of a sentence is the result of its use, which has had quite a great impact, as well as in poetry, as a media practice and media philosophy. What I did in the beginning was I produced very small pieces of paper with short poems on it, and the most important part was my name, my address, and my telephone number on it. And I did that, and I handed it out and copied it out. By the time the Xerox was a revolutionary invention. It was 1 million pieces of paper more or less, and I did that. And it was already something like an interactive kind of poetry. It was like I was handing out playing cards for a kind of a language monopoly. And I did that with all the people who could speak German, so it was limited to the German-speaking countries. So some people told me, what you wrote here is not only communication, it's poetry. So I started to get interested in poetry and considered myself being a poet. The next step was that moving in the street, some people told me, was already some kind of a performative act. So I was invited to certain performance festivals, and then to sound poetry festivals, and then to sound performance video festivals. And I met this kind of, it was a special word, very international, very multilingual, and was organized all over the world, these festivals, which was completely different from the situation of the literary. They were limited to national boundaries. Now, I was lucky to meet the great pioneers of this revolutionary era. I'm really happy to have met him in person, Henri Chopin. From my point of view, he's the most revolutionary poet of the 20th century. He, together with the French poet Sonore in the 50s, said, so it was Henri Chopin, François Dufresne, and Bernard Haití. These are the three great pioneers. And they said, with the invention of the tape recorder, the tape, the microphone, and the loudspeaker, the era of the literary writing has come to an end. The future will be audiovisual interventions. They're not very well known. I wonder why. They were very, very radical and very good poetry. What they did on tape, it was not only that they put it on record and spoke some words. They handled the tape recorder in a completely new way. It was more or less like a magnetic poetics. And the second, for my personal life, revolutionary thing was the encounter with Allen Ginsberg in 1980. And he invited me to visit a school, a poetry school that he had founded. And the poetry school name was Jack Kerouac School of Disembodied Poetics in Boulder, Colorado. And by that time, I thought, well, if he invites me to a poetry school, he thinks I need to learn something, and you're not a genius, you need a poetry school. But that was a very European point of view. And then in 91, we founded the poetry school in Vienna, and it was like a combination of all that. So the first concept was teaching is possible. Second, we will teach not only in the national language, which is German, but also in other languages, so it has a multilingual aspect. We will not teach only writing, but also poetry beyond writing, multimedia.